Jake Nanosky standing by from the Yellow Jacket men's lacrosse team. There we go. How we doing?
Doing good. How about you?
Good, man. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thanks for hanging out and having some fun.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been really fun to watch you guys as a team this year. My gosh, I know you guys have been through a lot with. I guess it's a coaching change, but when you have Coach Tatro, move from an assistant role to a head role, there's not quite the same honeymoon feeling of trying to figure out the new system and whatnot. So why don't we just kind of start on maybe a 10,000-foot level and what you're proud of that you guys have done so far this season.
Yeah, no, I would say the thing I'm most proud of is we lost a lot of seniors last year. We had a big senior class, and so coming into this year, we just sort of had to figure out our identity as a team. And I think as the season's progressed, and especially getting into conference play, I think we're really starting to find that identity, and we're really starting to click.
Well, you guys have always played a pretty tough out-of-conference schedule. I mean, that's been the case now for, at least the last 5 or 6 years within the program, and certainly, during the time that you and your family have been here.
Yeah.
And to start the year with, 3 losses in your first 4 games, but then essentially respond with, some impressive high goal-scoring outcomes and geez, this past week, 27-2 and 20-4.
Yeah.
I know you individually have been playing well, but where is this team better now compared to the beginning of the season when things, obviously tough competition, but I think it's clear you guys have made strides.
Yeah, I'd say we've made a lot of improvements offensively early on in the season. I think a lot of us were still trying to find our role within the team and within the offense especially. And I think early on we had a lot of problems with off-ball movement, but we're really starting to get that down and just really get comfortable within the offensive system. And so I think that's a lot to do with what we've been putting out on the field recently with some of those scores.
Tell me about your family and why BW is special, not just to you, but to your family.
Yeah, so obviously both my brothers were here, and, having both of them here, I was always around campus, on campus, around the guys. And just from the moment I've been on campus, I always felt that family atmosphere. When I was in 8th grade, I was hanging out with the team, and they were always saying hi to me, asking me how my stuff was going, and it just made sense to sort of follow in line because of how I was treated. It felt like a family here beyond just my brothers being here.
Love that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a heck of a lot of student athletes that have come to BW from Medina the last few years.
Yeah.
What's going on down at Medina High?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for the longest time there weren't a lot.
Yeah.
And then now within the past 2-3 years, I feel like I've just been seeing more and more familiar faces.
It's pretty cool. And obviously, I mean, Medina's as a high school athletics program, they've become one of the better teams, certainly in Northeast Ohio, and in many cases, one of the better teams throughout the whole state.
Yeah.
It's a big D1 school. They've got a lot of really good, talented guys, and I know right now Drew Aller is the high school quarterback that's going to Penn State that probably takes a lot of those headlines. Would be nice to have Drew Aller's arm.
Yeah, exactly.
Unique circumstances for you because you're playing football too, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm curious how you try to balance, training in both sports.
Yeah, no, so the biggest thing is just there really isn't an off season. In the fall, I'm fully focused on football, and then once the spring rolls around, I'm fully focused on lacrosse. So it's just sort of, especially it was interesting this year because I suffered a hamstring injury in football, so just trying to get the hamstring, ready to get back for football during the season, and then getting it ready for the lacrosse season this spring. That's where most of my focus had been.
How much do you enjoy not having the downtime of going basically from the end of one season to the heart of training for the next one?
Yeah, honestly, I love it. I feel like I've always sort of been better sort of under pressure or when I don't have that extra time to sit around and think. So I kind of like the fast pace, always going at it pretty much.
about the coaching staffs? You've got Coach Tatro and Coach Hilbert, whose offices are, 20 feet from each other, right? But there has to be some level of communication. I mean, they both know you're working when you're not in season with their team, but clearly are also at least comfortable enough with the fact that, you're doing some football training sometimes or some lacrosse training.
Yeah, no, both coaches have been extremely supportive of me, and they're, like you sort of touched on, the communication's just the biggest part for me and for them. Like, I communicate with them, they're open with me, and it's really nice having their support behind me.
What was it like to play with your brothers?
Oh, it was incredible. In high school, I didn't necessarily have that opportunity because I wasn't ready to play at the varsity level my freshman year. And so finally getting that opportunity this past year with Nick was really just amazing.
It's hard for me to believe that you're only a sophomore.
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel like you've been here longer.
It feels like I've
Probably
been
because you have been here longer as a non-BW student. But, you think about splitting your time in college up into fourths, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. And like I said, it feels like you've been here for a long time, even though you're only in the spring of your sophomore year. What do you want to accomplish in the second half of your BW career that you haven't had a chance to accomplish yet?
Just get that OAC championship in both football and lacrosse. We've been making those steps towards elevating the program, and I think that's the next clear step. But I think, we don't want to just settle for that OAC championship. We want to get into the tournament and win games in the tournament, and I think that's where I want to get to, and that's where I want to help elevate the teams too.
I know on the football side, the final game of the season was a tough one this year, and I know it's been a focal point for several years now. Where do you guys feel like you're getting closer and closer to getting over that hump?
I think at least for lacrosse-wise, I'd say just really getting into and understanding that we can do it. I think some part of the problem has just been sort of a mental block, and I think we're fully believing in ourselves now, and I think we have the systems in place, we have the coaches, we have everything we need. We just got to execute when it comes time, and I think we're really in a good position to do that.
Good. How about on the football side?
Yeah, so football, last year I wasn't around the team as much since, with the weird COVID year. But, we have a lot of guys that are ready to compete. And I think that's the biggest part for the team is, we have that depth. So if guys go down, we have guys that are ready to step up and make those plays and be able to hold that same standard.
The fact that there's probably a similarity here with both football and men's lacrosse, that the better teams in conference play are generally viewed as some of the better teams in the region, and certainly in football's case, some of the better teams in the country.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the fact that, when you're playing well and playing well against some really high-level competition, it obviously makes you feel good that you're succeeding, but does it somehow put in perspective for you of like what your goals are and the fact that maybe they're that much more achievable?
Yeah, especially in football, OAC is obviously one of the best conferences in the country. And then even in lacrosse, the OAC has gotten a lot better in the past few years. I think there's more talent within the conference for lacrosse than there has ever been. And I think having these really competitive games within the conference, like I mentioned, the big goal is to win games in the tournament. I think, with competition picking up in the conference, it sets us up to succeed once we make that step.
Jake's had a heck of a run so far. It was the OAC Rookie of the Year last year, broke the school record for goals in a season as a freshman with 39. That was 2.6 goals per game as a freshman, also a school record. School record for assists in a year as a freshman, points in a season as a freshman, points per game, and shots on goal as a freshman. So you had a great freshman season. You've scored 25 goals and had, I think, 17 assists for the first 10 games this year. I'm not asking you to give away any state secrets here, but are you on pace to sort of achieve whatever marks you've set for yourself here this season?
I try not to set individual standards for myself. I just want to do everything I can to put our team in the best position to win games, and if that means scoring goals or facilitating the offense, that's what I want to do.
So in your college career, you've had 6 goals in a game twice. You ever had more than that pre-college?
I think 6 has been the max even in high school. I think I was never able to crack that mark.
You say that like it's, down here. What's it like to score 6 goals in a game?
Honestly, in the game you don't necessarily realize it, especially like recently in the Capital game, I got going early and you just sort of ride the wave, and then after the game guys start asking you, how many did you have today, and it sort of shocks you to actually think about,
counting back on them.
Yeah.
Fun. That's cool. As you look forward to the rest of the season here, I mean, obviously you kind of have the John Carroll game mentally circled on the schedule every year, right? But what are you most looking forward to here in the back half of the year?
Just continue working on our systems, and like you said, just doing everything we can to put ourselves in a position to ideally have the OAC tournament be played at BW again this year, and just put ourselves in the position to get to that title game and hopefully avenge what happened last year.
There's 3 teams right now at the top of the OAC. John Carroll, Ohio Northern, and BW all off to 3-0 starts in conference play. You've got 6 games left in the regular season with Mount Union, Otterbein, and Ohio Northern all coming to Berea. Trips to Muskingum, John Carroll, and Wilmington. All those games get underway, opening up at either 1 or 7 o'clock on Wednesdays or on Saturdays. And then you've got the one Friday game on Good Friday down against Otterbein up here in Berea.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing I just want to ask you is about Coach Tatro and what you've most enjoyed about him running the show this year.
Oh, all of the guys, we love Coach Tatro, and I think the biggest thing is it's obvious how much he cares about us as lacrosse players, but more importantly as human beings. Anything we need, he's there for us, and I think that's all you can ask for as a player and as a student.
Well, it's been pretty cool to watch you guys have an unbelievable season so far, and I know you've got big goals ahead of you, and those are very much within reach here, both in conference and potentially beyond that, and certainly wish you all the best as you move from lacrosse to then football season as soon as lacrosse comes to an end, whenever that is.
Thank you.
But thanks for spending some time with us.
Yeah, no problem.
Good to meet you. Jake Nanosky, a standout lacrosse student athlete here at BW.